Good morning, everybody. We have a mostly lower trade in the grain markets here early on Monday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. May corn futures down 6 at 546 and a half. December corn down 2 3/4 at 463 3/4. We've got the May soybean contract down 5 1/4 at 1395 1/4. November soybeans up 3/4 of a cent at 1208. May Chicago wheat down 1 at 612 1/4. May Kansas City wheat down 4 3/4 at 563 and a half. May spring wheat down 1 1/4 at 612 3/4. So a little bit softer here to start off the week. USDA will release its prospective plantings and quarterly grain stocks report on Wednesday. Pre-report estimates I'll talk a little bit more about here the next couple of days, but traders generally expect an increase in both corn and soybean acreage versus last year. The general expectation is that prevent plant acres will fall back to kind of like normalish type levels after big increases the last 2 years. In regard to grain stocks, you're looking for lighter March 1 stocks of corn, soybeans, and wheat versus last year. So everything about this going into it is kind of friendly in the context of last year. I mean, higher corn and soybean acreage, lower stocks. We'll talk a little bit more about the numbers later. As a matter of fact, later today, I'll have a video posted. This is going to be my USDA report preview and product update. And this is actually going to be an episode sponsored by CME Group. And I'm going to talk about the report. I'm going to run through all the pre-report estimates. We're going to talk about some of the option products that CME offers, a lot of the flexibility that's available in some of these relatively new option products that maybe some people aren't aware of. So I'm going to run through that a little bit later. I should have that report, or that video and podcast episode posted by about noon Central Time today. So keep a lookout for that. To get into the headlines here this morning, or some of the other headlines, the U.S. dollar index posted its best weekly close since October. A great deal of the drop in the dollar index has to do with the action in the euro currency. The euro is set for its biggest monthly drop since the middle part of 2019. They've got tighter restrictions. They've got a kind of problematic vaccine rollout. What you've got to remember about the dollar index is that it is it's the dollar versus a weighted basket of currencies, and the euro holds the most weight. It's like 58% of the index. So when the euro is down sharply like it has been, it's going to be a positive for the dollar, and a strong dollar, of course, typically a negative for U.S. commodity prices. Weaker soybean oil values have weighed on soybean prices. On a continuation basis, bean oil lost 2.6% last week and more than 5% the week prior. There's been some talk regarding bean oil imports from Argentina that has circulated, maybe sparking some liquidation across the complex. Bean oil supplies in the U.S. are extremely tight. Some commercials apparently have no physical bean oil to offer. Bean oil has been really just an incredible bull market since the spring of last year. Bean oil futures on a continuation basis have rallied 136% from their April 2020 low to this month's high. So really a phenomenal price action there. Global wheat prices continue to fall. Russian export prices fell sharply last week and have now declined for 4 consecutive weeks. So you've got a few things going on here. Improved weather in both the U.S. and in the Black Sea region. We're going to see that reflected when USDA starts putting out national crop ratings here at the beginning of April. So wheat's really kind of been a dog here. The one market that has also been down but is a little bit different is spring wheat. And I've talked a little bit before about how, a good chunk of U.S. spring wheat areas are in the midst of some sort of drought. The acreage that we're going to see an acreage decline because spring wheat prices are just not competitive with corn or soybeans. So that's one market that is perhaps a little bit different, but has still been under pressure. Gasoline prices continue to rise. According to AAA data, the national average price for regular unleaded gasoline was $2.86 per gallon yesterday, up from $2.02 last year. The national average price was as low as $2.10 as recently as early November. So we've seen some OPEC production cuts. We've seen stronger demand. I think there's fear of more regulation. And, weekly gasoline demand, although it's rallied, it's still running, 5 to 10% below what I would call pre-COVID levels. Recently, and we have not returned to that. Fund traders remain very heavily long the grain markets, corn in particular. At last Tuesday's close, funds long 379,000 contracts, futures only in corn. That's the largest net long in the corn market since 2011. We've got a more modest net long of 152,000 in the soybeans and a modest net short of about 8,000 contracts in the SRW wheat market as of last Tuesday. So funds really sticking to their guns here in terms of this big long position in the corn market. Remember, the ag markets will be closed on Friday in observance of the Good Friday holiday. Following Thursday's regular close, will reopen Sunday night. Cattle market, we did see an improved cash cattle trade finally last week. We got up to 115 and actually some areas were 116. So a little bit better versus the last week. And remember that cash cattle market had just been stuck at that 114 level for a long time. Feeder cattle index perked up a little bit as well. In the outside markets here this morning, stock market's off. The Dow Jones is down 120 points. The S&P is down 12. Precious metals are a little bit lower. US dollar is about flat. Crude oil is up 59 cents and the May WTI at 61.56. Bonds are up just a little bit. Remember, if you guys need some more information from me, as always, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan here in the upper right-hand corner. For $49 a month, I'll send you a whole bunch of stuff. My morning email goes out every business day at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. Every overnight headline you need to be aware of. All sorts of interesting charts and graphics. I talk a lot about grain marketing specific stuff, spreads, capture and carry, cash sales, all that stuff is included. I've also got a new feature, subscriber-only videos, in which I really get in depth on some of these grain marketing items. It's been very, very popular since I started doing them several weeks ago. You can cancel this monthly subscription at any time. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Everybody have a wonderful day today. I'll talk to you a little bit later.